Okay, I'll be talking about the 1948 Arab-Israeli War on the Israeli side. Just to reiterate the basic context of the war, Israel became independent on the 14th of May 1948, and the war began the next day on the morning of May 15th, 1948. So, what were Israel's goals throughout the course of the war? Well, Israel had multiple goals as the war progressed. The first goal was to survive because they didn't want to repeat the tragedy of the Holocaust, which took place 3 years prior to this war. Their second goal was to expand the Jewish state beyond the partition borders that were set by the United Nations in 1947. And later on, their goal evolved even further to getting rid of all Arab minorities on the Israeli soil. So let's look at the Israeli forces at the beginning of the invasion. Israel had roughly 30,000 soldiers who were all commanded by their national leader Ben Gurion, who was also the one who declared their national independence. There were 9 brigades and only 20,000 rifles and 10 guns. And what does this show? It shows that 1/3 of the Israeli soldiers lacked ammunition and were ill prepared for the fight. And this explains why they were less advantageous than the Arab forces uh, in the beginning of the war. However, throughout the course of the war, their progressive mobilization of citizens, coupled with the influx of immigrants, contributed to the constant growth of their army size. And furthermore, their army was supported by European powers such as France and Czechoslovakia, who provided them with plenty of rifles, machine guns, and even aircraft. And this also allowed them to grow stronger. On the 29th of May 1948, the United Nations called for a 4-week truce, which gave Israel a substantial chance to stand up again. So Israel did two things. First, Israel was supplied by Czechoslovakia with a whole new air force. It was their first ever air force. In addition, the size of the Haganah, which is the name of their army, was also doubled, and this diminished the Arab forces' advantage in size. Secondly, the Israeli officials reorganized their army structure and fighting strategies, and this was also crucial to their later victory. Let's talk about the Israel counteroffensive. Their counteroffensive was most successful in Operation Dani, which was part of their 10-day battle that happened after the first truce. So, in this operation, the Israelis aimed at securing and kind of enlarging the corridor between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv by capturing the roadside cities Lida and Ramla. To better demonstrate this their strategy, I'll pull out the map from the Cleveland textbook. I've already marked some places for you to see. As you can see here, Tel Aviv is right here, Jerusalem is here, and this is the corridor between them. Lida is a city alongside the corridor, and Ramla is another city which is right next to Lida, but it's not shown on this map, unfortunately. Maybe Cleveland forgot, but anyways, what's more important was the 10-day battle allowed the Israelis to capture the entire lower Galilee area, which is right here. It stretches from the Haifa Bay to the Sea of Galilee, which is right here, this region. And in total, they captured around 1,000 square kilometers of the Palestinian territory, and this enhanced their strategic position. But on the other hand, a lot of Palestinians who resided in these places were forced to flee and become refugees. The second truce took place on the 18th of July, 1948, and actually I can skip this. The result of this truce was there was a clash between Arab villagers who attacked the Israelis, and then the Israel forces launched Operation Shelter, in which the Arabs were defeated, and the Israeli forces gained dominance over the road that connected Tel Aviv and Haifa, which is right here. This was also very important, as you can see. Cleveland mentioned in the book that when the second armistice took effect in July, the Israeli victory was assured. Israel's final counteroffensives included multiple operations. For example, in Operation Yov, Israelis defeated the Egyptian forces in Beersheba, which is the capital of Negev, right here. In addition, Operation Hiram allowed Israel to capture the entire upper Galilee area, driving the Arabs back to Lebanon, which is right here. And the Arab forces were driven back to Lebanon. Furthermore, in Operation Horeb, the Israelis completely drove the Egyptian forces away from Palestine, and it's about this region right here. By the 10th of March 1949, Israel had secured the entire southern Negev region, which signified an end to the war. Israel signed separate armistice treaties with the members of the Arab League that were involved in the war, including Egypt, Lebanon, Transjordan, and Syria. Furthermore, the treaties resulted in the creation of the demarcation line, which granted Israel control over 78% of former mandatory Palestine. Here is a direct comparison of the Israel area before and after the war. Here is 1947 and here 1949. As you can see, it was a substantial gain for the nation. In terms of casualties, Israel lost around 6,000 men. However, this was only 1% of its population, and this case was much better compared to the case with the Arab League members, which lost more.